she's so fine. Hell of a hell of a blows my mind. Hell of a lights my...
What's good, guys? This story came out yesterday on the 1st. It's coming out of Richmond, Virginia, and I want to thank Marie722 for sending it to me. Man convicted of 2 murders gets 6.5 years for violent escape from State Juvenile Center. A Fredericksburg man convicted in 2015 of fatally stabbing 2 men was sentenced Thursday to serve 6.5 years in prison for his role in a violent escape last summer with another inmate from the Bon Air Juvenile Correctional Center in Chesterfield County, the facility's first breakout in 20 years. Jabbar A. Taylor, who was 20 at the time, along with accomplice Rashad E. Williams, 18, overpowered a security employee by placing a handmade weapon to his body and wrapping a cord around his neck. They then forced him to the ground, took his keys, and escaped by cutting a hole in a perimeter security fence with a pair of bolt cutters. A car with Pennsylvania plates that was idling in the road drove them from the scene, according to evidence. Soon after the escape, authorities learned that Taylor and Williams were aided by 2 Virginia Department of Juvenile Justice employees and a relative of Williams who lived in Philadelphia. Taylor pleaded guilty Thursday in Chesterfield Circuit Court to escaping by force from a juvenile correctional facility, assault and battery of a corrections officer, and possession of a cell phone while incarcerated. In accordance with the plea agreement, Circuit Judge Frederick G. Rockwell III sentenced Taylor to 15 years in prison with 8 years and 6 months suspended, giving him 6.5 years to serve. Taylor's active prison term was above discretionary state sentencing guidelines, which called for a punishment of between 1 year and 11 months at the low end and 5 years and 9 months at the high end. Chesterfield Commonwealth's attorney Stacey Davenport sought an upward departure from the guidelines because of the violence used in the escape, the extensive law enforcement resources required to find and capture Taylor and Williams, and the serious nature of Taylor's prior offenses. At the time of the July 13 escape, Taylor was serving a 50-year sentence for fatally stabbing 2 men and seriously wounding a third during an altercation that Taylor's older brother started outside the Cookout restaurant in the Greenbrier Shopping Center in Fredericksburg. He was convicted of 2 counts of second-degree murder, aggravated malicious wounding, and criminal solicitation. Taylor, who was 15 at the time, was committed to the Bon Air Juvenile Correctional Center until his 21st birthday, at which time he was to be transferred to an adult prison. He turned 21 on August the 25th. According to Davenport's summary of evidence, Bon Air security specialist Paul Mahan let 3 juvenile inmates out of their rooms about 12:15 a.m. after they requested to use the restroom. One of the juveniles then turned off the lights as Taylor approached Mahan and placed a handmade weapon with a screw on the end against his torso. At that point, Williams wrapped a cord around Mahan's neck, and he was taken to the ground. Both Taylor and Williams continued to struggle with Mahan as Williams took his keys. Taylor then ran to his room and grabbed a white bag before exiting the housing unit through a door that Williams unlocked with Mahan's keys. Moments later, security specialist Deirdre Morrison, who was near the facility's perimeter fence line, saw Taylor and Williams go through a hole in the fence that Williams cut with bolt cutters. From there, Taylor and Williams were seen getting into a vehicle that was waiting for them on the road outside the facility. The bolt cutters and a cell phone later were recovered near the section of fence that was breached. The weapon used to threaten Mahan was found inside the housing unit. Mahan, who lost consciousness during the attack, took himself to a local hospital for treatment of scratches to his face and torso. He missed a significant amount of work, Davenport told the court. Investigators learned that a portion of the escape was recorded by the facility's video system, showing Taylor engaging in a physical altercation with Mahan before exiting through an exterior door. Upon further investigation, it was discovered that Williams had been in possession of the cell phone found near the fence since June of 2020 and had used the phone to communicate with individuals outside of the facility on numerous occasions, Davenport said. These communications resulted in the bolt cutters being delivered to the facility and the vehicle arriving at the facility to assist Taylor and Williams in their escape. Davenport said Williams was the mastermind of the escape, and he began planning it before Taylor was moved into the housing unit with him. Taylor simply agreed to join Williams, but he did not actively participate in planning the escape, the prosecutor said. Williams pleaded guilty on February the 2nd to 10 felonies for his role in the escape. He is scheduled to be sentenced on May the 5th. At the time of the escape, Williams was serving 18 years on convictions of robbery and other offenses in Fredericksburg and Stafford and Spotsylvania counties. Wow, 3 counties. Williams was 16 when he and another team robbed 2 women and a 7-Eleven at gunpoint in May of 2018. After an extensive manhunt, Taylor and Williams were captured July the 25th at a hotel in Battle Creek, Michigan, about 120 miles west of Detroit. The U.S. Marshals Service Fugitive Task Force had pursued numerous leads in several states that showed that Taylor and Williams were traveling together and had initially fled to Pennsylvania. Williams' relative, Gerald Thompson, 33 of Philadelphia, was charged with 4 counts of aiding with the escape of a juvenile. His trial date is set to be on May the 17th. Bonaire Juvenile Correctional Center employee Destiny Harris, 23 of Chesterfield, was charged with 2 counts of aiding with the escape of a juvenile. She is scheduled to plead guilty on April the 20th, according to court records. Darren Briggs, 42 of Lawrenceville, who also was employed by the Department of Juvenile Justice, pleaded guilty on February the 19th to a misdemeanor charge, reduced from a felony, of aiding with the escape of a prisoner. Davenport said Briggs delivered a cell phone to Williams, although Briggs had not purchased it. Briggs was sentenced to 12 months in jail with 10 months suspended. This is a picture of Taylor, courtesy of the Virginia Department of Juvenile Justice. This is a picture of Jabbar Williams, also courtesy of the Virginia Department of Juvenile Justice. So when it said here, soon after the escape, authorities learned that Taylor and Williams were aided by 2 Virginia Department of Juvenile Justice employees. That would be Briggs, and that would be Destiny Harris. And then the relative was the other man mentioned, and he's the one that lived in Philadelphia. I'll be interested to see how this case comes out. I'm going to try to stay updated on it. But I'm going to end the story on that note. That sounds like a full-on movie plot. I mean, you could actually picture all of that happening. Whew. I'm going to end the story on that. Thanks, guys.